But yeah, enough of me ranting.
I know, man.
Dumb weather here, man.
Dumb weather
It's
all
just-
the time. Never.
I'm sure you guys know, like, when you're really filled up, it's stressful to try to reschedule because you're like, you can't even fit people in anymore. So you're like, where do I put you at? And then it's annoying, bro.
It's really stressful.
I hate Reno weather.
I just had one, like right before you came.
Are we recording?
Yeah, we are.
Oh.
But I just had one, and then she hit me up. I'm like, fuck, dude. And because they want weekends too, you know, it's like, oh, that's gonna be hard. But
yeah,
we should shut up and introduce our newest guest.
Yes. Am I introducing or you introducing?
You can introduce, but
again?
First of all,
Damn,
wait.
Bruh.
Damn, chill, bro. So
kidding.
welcome everyone once again to another episode. We are super excited to have another, like I said, another guest, very cool guest. I just talked to him for like 15 minutes.
Yeah,
somebody
because I was running late.
Somebody was
I
late,
was backed
man.
up with stuff. Leave me alone.
Nah, I'm just like. But welcome to the podcast, bro. We
Hello.
are super happy to have
Happy
you
to be
on.
here.
You want to
We're glad
introduce
to
yourself
finally-
and maybe plug the Instagram, say your name, and
Sure.
all that good stuff.
My name is Payton. I've been in the arts for about 10 years. I mainly do videography and photography, and I'm kind of transitioning to music right now, which is exciting.
Ooh.
And he could easily be a radio host. Do you hear this voice, bro?
Really?
Hello.
Do you hear
Wait,
his voice?
let me hear him.
Hear him. He could totally be a radio host, bro.
Honestly, I think the more I hear him talk, the more it's gonna grow on me.
That was so
Okay.
good. That was such a good intro. That was
That
solid,
was a really
man.
good
Yeah, that was
introduction.
really good.
He said, "I've been in the arts 10 years, but I mostly do video." Damn, bro, relax.
10 years, bro.
Okay, yeah.
That's a long
That's
time,
crazy,
dude.
man.
I honestly
So-
didn't know you've been doing that long. That's crazy.
Well, a lot of like what I do, and I was talking to him with like this animation project. It's been going on two years, and it's actually going to wrap tonight.
Oh, wow.
So that's something. It's like 60 minutes in Spanish of this like mental health animation video.
Really?
And that's something that it's not that like it's not something I'm proud to post, but a lot of that it's been like so with the government, like I can't post anything. So a lot of that it's like things that like a lot of people don't know what I'm doing most of the time.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you don't usually post a lot of your stuff on Instagram, do you?
Yeah, and a lot of like, especially the last few years, it's been a lot of corporate work where it's like a medical product where it's this like special chair for old ladies sitting. It's like I don't want to be known as the guy that films ladies sitting down in chairs.
That makes sense.
So within the next year, I'm actually going to be going more towards my own music and my own music videos and that stuff that like I want to post. I want to be known for someone that does that.
Right. Do something cool, right? Because we were talking about it. You want to do something cool while you can, you know?
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
maybe down the road, you know, you can go more into the other stuff, you know? But you do music, video, and then what else?
Those are-
Animations.
Yeah, so within photography and animation, I guess that's just the visual art side. I've done a lot with like graphic design, marketing, then video or with audio. I grew up playing the piano and doing choir, and I now play the drums, guitar, bass, and all that. But I just have a question for you guys. Have you ever had any like crazy experiences on any shoots where like the cops got involved or anything like that?
Oh. I've gotten,
No.
just the normal, like, getting kicked out of places, you know?
Yeah.
Like, parking lots and stuff, but nothing crazy.
Yeah,
I feel like he's got a really good story
no
coming
no
up.
helicopters, no dogs
Oh,
taking you
shit,
down
no.
or anything
No,
like that?
no, no,
Do you
no.
have one like that?
Maybe.
Oh, shit.
I'm like,
Well,
that,
you gotta
it
tell
sounds
us,
like
bro.
you're talking
bit.
from personal experience.
Yeah, he's setting himself up for a
If you're
good
watching
story
this right now,
here.
Mom, I'm sorry. She's
Oh,
finding out about
shit.
this now.
Oh, no. Tell him, man.
Sheesh.
So it was in high school. In our video class, we had to film like a Halloween story. So there's this abandoned house up on the hill by Reed. You might know about it.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
So we tried to go, like about 5 of us. It was just our tripod and our like Canon 30D. We're like 16 years old there. Show up, we're setting up, and then all of a sudden this helicopter starts like swirling around us and telling us to like drop everything and like not move.
Oh,
So you can imagine my pants got a little heavier there. Me, a little kid, like I'm just trying to get like a grade in the class and might be now getting a D
Going to
in the
jail,
class
right?
and hopefully not a D in jail or anything like that.
That's wild, man.
I got the reference.
But yeah, so after that helicopter was swirling, so we didn't try and run away. Cop cars pull up. They just ask us what we're doing. They put us against a car, pat us down, and we're just little kids. We're like, hey, we're not doing anything. Apparently, some neighbor called and said we were like burglarizing this house and like
Oh,
breaking
wow.
in, and we were literally just like standing there with tripods
Uh-huh.
in the driveway. And someone called and said we were some
Oh,
major
that's wild,
felons. So got away, but yeah, that was not a good thing. But it was a valuable lesson because we're talking about with bigger projects I'm doing nowadays. And I get police escorts and things like that. So that
Oh, that's cool.
like we shut down, or we didn't shut down, but we got an escort at Fremont Street in Vegas. If you've ever been there, so that was a cool thing.
That's a super busy street too. So
Yeah, so
yeah, that's crazy.
But if we were there, we probably would have had a similar issue where the cops would pull up and shut us down, and that's actually happened. A film in that we did in the airport where we got kicked out of.
Because it's an airport.
Yeah, it was my fault. It was the people that were in charge. They brought us there, and they said that they had the permits, but they were just cutting down on the costs.
I've never really done any big projects like that, so I'm just usually just breaking the law, man. As long as I can break the law and get away with it, man.
He said as long as I can break the law.
I'll freaking do it, man.
Yeah, it's easy though with just photography, but when you got film sets there where it's like 15 people and it's like obviously professional equipment, they're like, yeah, there's some money behind this.
Yeah, like you kind of see the scene and you're like, oh, there must be some filming thing, you know. Last time I was in LA, they shut down one of the streets for like super randomly. Like we drove by and then out of nowhere a bunch of cops were like halting everyone, and then you see like a bunch of like two cars just like haul ass through the street, and like some dude in a big old camera rig like recording in the back of a truck. I'm like, oh, that's definitely like a movie scene.
Now that you say that's actually kind of like a goal, you know, like if you can get a street shut down for you to like record and make something, that'd be like a cool thing to do.
Yeah, it's tough too, because if you really want it to be good, you have to like move all the pedestrians out, because that's something else with bigger sets is some guy with like a leaf blower will like show up and just start running it and kill the sound, and then you have to pay that guy off. So there's little things that you wouldn't really know until you're at that level, and it's like, oh, this guy's got a chainsaw, and his friend called him to bring the chainsaw, and now he's getting $300.
But tell us a little bit about how you started. Like you started 10 years ago.
What got you into like art in general?
Well, I think I've always just been like a really big fanatic of like anything movies and music. That was just something that was like really big in my early life. And my parents put me in piano lessons when I was like 4. So I did that for quite a while. And then through elementary school, I did like honor choir. So that was a big thing for like many years. And then I kind of just fell out of that, got more into sports. And then I actually, later in high school, I got injured, tore my rotator cuff. So I had to like stop playing baseball. And that's when I kind of really transitioned to the arts, because I got into a video class there, and that's where it really kicked off. I'm like, okay, sports is great, but this is something that like I was really passionate about. It's just so much learning involved. Every project's different. You're meeting new people all the time.
So you
10 years ago,
like,
man.
You went into like art classes in high school then?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was lucky enough that the program I had at my high school, they had like a little video class, and super basic there, but it was enough to like they would let us rent these little camcorders. Did that
transition into like college?
Yeah, so a lot of what I did there in high school, they kind of like set me up with like little jobs. Like I said, like in 2014, this like Netflix job I worked on, so that was a little thing with helping get like accepted into college and fine arts school. Just
we're bringing the big dogs here, man.
Yeah, no,
it's crazy.
Yeah, that one was crazy. Yeah, that was like I was just a little kid like spray painting boxes, and we shot till like 4 a.m. there, and it was like negative something, just out in the middle of like some desert, and there's like 200 people there, just like in the middle of nowhere.
Wow,
that's crazy.
That was a fun one.
That's crazy. So what did you end up like studying in college?
So I majored in marketing with business school, and then I got degrees in cinema studies and videography. So cinema studies was like English, and videography was more like the art technical stuff.
Yeah.
And that was a mistake too, like if we're talking about overworking, because I got those degrees in like 3 years. So I was taking like 30 credit semesters, which is illegal, but I got the dean's approval because I don't know, they thought I was crazy enough to do it. So that's like, I've always been like a really hard worker and tried to do as much as I can. And then immediately out of that, I got my production company going, and that's kind of where I am right now.
And you own it? It's yours? Oh, that's cool.
What's your production company?
It's called Pay Productions.
Pay Productions?
And it's kind of weird. I never like really post about it, but it's like every job I get sets up some connection where I get like a job immediately after that.
Oh, that's cool.
So that's been nice where like on social media, I'll post like my creative stuff that, you know, like I said, I want to be known for, but on the side that's funding that is all my like corporate stuff where it's like...
Tell us more about like your corporate work. Like what have you done before? Companies or anything people you've worked with or anything?
Yeah, people. So pre-COVID, I actually had this job where I would travel around. It was this kind of sports, like motivational TV show. So we had an interview set up with like Ray Lewis. We had, what was the other guy? like Cal Ripken. So those are some big ones that we had, and then COVID shut it down. But before that, we still got to interview a couple like big NHL guys, some people that worked in the Obama administration. Oh, wow. So that was a cool thing. Then corporate jobs, like I guess just interviewing for like music festivals. I've got to meet a lot of like big social media people that have like millions of followers. Other interviewing things on sets. So like a lot of times I'll have a job where I'm either like BTS on a film set, or I'm doing like lighting, and there like you meet a lot of people with guys from like Sons of Anarchy, guys that are like big voice actors with Pixar and a lot of that.
Oh wow, that's cool.
That's crazy,
and
man.
It's funny too because
a bunch of celebrities.
This is so unexpected.
I had no idea that he was doing all this.
And that's the thing is like a lot of it it's just like so much like NDAs where it's like if I post something, then I'm gonna get fined like $100,000, and it's like, oh, I guess that's my little secret that I know this guy that's the voice of Remy from Ratatouille.
Oh, I see what you mean. Okay, like you can't just go share it all over social media. Kind of thing. Well, I think it makes sense. I feel like when you're doing jobs like that, like on a corporate level, there is more guidelines that the company wants, or the people involved are like, oh, I don't want you blasting me all over your Instagram or your Twitter or something, like unless there's like some sort of mutual agreement or something, but. Because, it's not like you see directors sharing photos of their scenes all the time, until, like, the movie comes out, then they're like, oh, look at this behind the scenes.
Yeah, because they want it to look professional. And, like, any, like, Snapchat video is going to, like, have some inferred quality or release some, like, information or, like, Marvel leak that, like, costs you a lot of money.
Like, we don't do things, like, to that level, but I've seen even, like, wedding photographers who will do that during, like, weddings. And I feel weird about doing that at a wedding. You know what I mean? Like, I don't really want to show on my story, like, everything going on. Like, and think at the most I'll do is take a photo of, like, their ARG or, like, a photo in my camera. But I feel weird, like, just recording people in a wedding that I'm photographing. Like, I don't know, maybe that's just me, but I see it often. And I do see that a lot of, like, wedding photographers will do that. Like, I get it's, like, a cool, like, oh, look where I'm at, like, behind the scenes. But I kind of treat it like that of, like, what if these people are going to be like, why are you posting all that on your story? It just feels kind of weird. But I guess when you are doing more corporate things, it makes more sense. But
I was talking to him, and I was telling him, I don't even know if I can do that, because I'm so, like, in the moment, I just want to share everything, you know what I mean? So I was telling him with my videos, sometimes I take, like, an hour to edit a video, and then it's out on Instagram, So I'm like, I don't even know if I could wait, like, you were talking about, like, that other video that took you 2 years, or like
so the animation one that's probably around like 500 hours of editing over like two years.
I could not do that, man.
Yeah, my lord,
I could not do that. That's wild, man.
That's crazy. Are you editing that yourself then?
Yeah, pretty much. It's a pretty small thing, but like the pay's good. But it's just a different story with, you take a photo and it's a still moment versus an animated video where you have to like coordinate their blinks and like their joint movements of every frame.
I give animators a lot of props. That seems like a really hard job. Like, I know it's not the most appropriate show, but like South Park.
Oh yeah, no.
Like, how they release episodes like every week? That's insane, dude. Like, what team do they have that they can release an episode every week? Like, literally, like, during their seasons, it's like every Wednesday there's a new episode that drops. I'm like, they must have a hell of a team back there, dude,
and
to be able to do that.
No one else in the industry does it that fast.
No.
Like, everyone else looks at that and they're like, they must be psychopaths that stay up for 4 days straight. And
but then just as a regular, watcher, you're just like, oh, that show's cool.
Yeah, well,
you don't even think about all the work.
Yeah, it like hooks you in. Like, any show that is weekly, at least you have something to look forward to. Like, how now, like HBO Max or like Disney Plus, they're doing these series where it's like, oh, tune in every Sunday and you get an episode. I'm sure these were shot and edited before, but they're just keeping the weekly thing. But then there's like the South Park guys that are like, no, we're literally keeping in like current events so that we can release an episode every week based on current events. Like, I don't know if you kept up with that series last year, but they were so on point with like all of 2020 because they were literally just cranking out one every single week.
It was like an event that happened 2 days ago. It's like, how'd they even work that in?
Yeah, I'm like, that is insane, bro.
How did you learn to do animation? Did you take a class? Or
So I did in college, some of the high-end videography classes. I was actually in like a VR club, and so a lot of that it was like coding certain programs in a 3D space. So it was a similar thing where like you'd have a ball and it falls and you have to coordinate the physics of that. So that project was my like senior thesis, where it was real actors in VR working around in a completely computer generated space. So you can imagine most movies like there's green screen, but it's a different story doing green screen in VR, where the entire background is completely like animated.
Yeah.
So that was a big project where I learned quite a lot that's transferred into this like Latin animation project.
And it's in Spanish too.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. So
I'm really excited for it, dude.
Yeah,
it's gonna be dope. We have a lot of Hispanic watchers, so we'll definitely.
Cool.
Is
have
that
them
one
keep
dropping
an eye out.
tonight? Is that the one?
no, that one probably won't be dropped till like the summer, but it's
Oh,
like
I see.
I might be able to press export tonight and get my like first
Oh, I see. I see, I see, I
render
see.
of it tonight.
Oh,
which is-
nice.
Ah,
like you're
damn,
finishing it
man.
tonight,
Yeah,
potentially.
and like there'll be like little adjustments where they're like, hey, this line, can we like re-record that or something? But
Oh,
For the
okay.
most part, like it's like pretty
And
much
that's the
locked
one
in.
that's been in the past 2 years.
Mm-hmm. So
Oh
like
my
with
God.
that 2 years where it's like writing adjustments, voice recording,
Like just getting
animating,
everything.
Now let me ask you this:
Mm-hmm.
if I'm just some guy and I'm like, I want to learn how to do animation,
Mm-hmm.
do you think I can do that just with the internet, or do you think I have to go to school?
Yeah, I think any type of art or creative thing is more accessible now than ever. I'm someone that like is really prouded. I guess had pride in myself, whatever.
Yeah.
Been
pride
proud to
yourself.
like, yeah, been proud to be really flexible. I've had experience in like stand up and acting and haven't done ballet yet, but I've done like quite a lot of different arts. And each one of them, like there's some of like the pure artistic qualities of, contrast, timing, like I guess character development that transfer between them all. But with any of them, there's like certain disciplines that I would say within a month you can learn the basics, and then in the next 5 years will be you like actually perfecting the craft. Like there's a lot that within that first month you can learn so much and get started on pretty much anything. Even if you don't have the best laptop, you don't have the best camera, there's so much you can learn really quickly. Then like I said, it's just all about slowly progressing from there. But yeah, I think YouTube, any like monthly service, like there's a lot of people that have their own programs where you can learn from that.
No, that's right.
I know that there's one, I forget the name of it, but it's like a site where
Skillshare.
Skillshare.
Yeah.
Skillshare.
They have a lot there.
Early on when I was doing photography, I took a couple like classes through there and I learned
Yeah.
a lot.
I
I
did
think I
take
took
some
one
too.
about exposing like sunlight or something like that, and that was really interesting, as well as like what certain settings do in your camera, depending on like light outside and where you're at and stuff. And I mean, I was only paying like $10 a month for it.
Yeah, versus 30,000 a semester.
Yeah.
Like I know you guys talked with Sam about that, where it's like you can do so much now that you would have never been able to do. Like even
Yeah,
with your
crazy.
phone recording.
We're really going at college in general.
Yeah.
We're really going at it.
No, well, it's funny, like, now that I'm in, like, peak grad season, I have people ask me, I always ask everyone, like, hey, what's your major, and then they tell me what it is, and I usually follow up with, like, did you like it?
Yeah.
And some people are like, yeah, I wanted to do this, or, like, the others were like, I just wanted to get a degree.
There you go.
So it seemed like whatever. Others were like, I hated it, but I wanted a degree.
That was pretty much me. I hated pretty much every second of like the actual college work. And there was so much times where I'm like, if I was just in LA actually doing this stuff on my own, like I would be so much farther. And like I get that. Like I totally like can appreciate that you can do it on your own. But college was good for me, just like meeting people and just having like accountability of like, okay, you paid this money, you should actually be there doing
Yeah, I mean,
this.
if you're gonna be paying that much for a year, like, you
Yeah.
should go to class.
But it is like, I don't think it's necessary as a creative, but for something like a doctor or a lawyer, like I'm like,
Yeah.
if someone's
Yeah.
doing surgery on me, I would hope they didn't get it off
Yeah.
Skillshare.
Right.
Yeah. Little technical difficulties.
Yeah, but where were we?
We were on the subject of college.
Yeah,
Right, just
I
talking
think
shit about college.
as a creative, it's so much more important your portfolio and you being able to prove that you can do something versus saying a certificate saying you can do something, actually seeing like visually your work.
Yeah.
That's so
I
much
think
more
the work
powerful.
speaks for itself,
Yeah,
kind of
that's-
thing. I usually have people ask me if I went to school for photography
Cool.
too. Like a lot of the UNR grads are like, oh, so like, did you go to college, or like, how'd you end up here? And I'm like, yeah, I went for a little bit, but wasn't really my thing. And then I saw potential in photography, I guess. So then I was like, well, why don't I just try to do this? And then, 2 years full time now, which is kind of great. And obviously, I'm thankful because this was literally through the pandemic. So I'm like really lucky to still be here like that. But they'll say like, oh, did you go to college? And I'm like, no. Yeah. YouTube was my best friend. I learned almost everything I needed to learn through YouTube. And then obviously just talking to people who were more advanced than I was, because I know in school it's more hands-on, I guess, than through online classes. Even now, students who are doing online class, I'm sure they hate it because it's not as hands-on or anything. But when you talk to people who do what you do but they've had more experience, it's kind of better to just seek out their help, because they can literally show you what to do, or just explain it more. So it's I don't think you have to go to college for certain things, but it's not a bad idea. It's a plan B.
Yeah, I think anything, you get in what you put out. If you're just going through college and not really trying, you're not going to learn much. And same goes if you're just self-employed and trying and barely doing a shoot or two a month. That's not going to get you too far.
Yeah, you're not really going to hang in there like that.
Now you mentioned you had moving to LA in the back of your head, right? Is that still something that you think about, moving to LA or moving out of Reno in general?
I think I was actually going to last summer. So that was something with COVID that I had the money saved and I was going to go do that. And that it was a blessing in disguise, because I definitely, if I had gone there, I would have been financially unstable because I wouldn't be able to work because all the film sets were shut down. And through that, I just had a lot of free time because I'd saved up so much money where I didn't need to work as much. And that allowed me to go and figure out a lot of things with singing. So,
singing?
With singing, yes.
Are you a singer too?
Yeah.
Yes.
So I want you to, bro. I want you to go over the transition from doing mostly videography.
No wonder why he's got such a good voice. I was onto something, bro.
You gotta go with us. You gotta go over with us with the finding that path of it. How do you go from video to wanting to do music?
They're very different. So, that, like I said, I did in elementary school, a lot of singing with honor choir and such, and then kind of fell out of it, and I just kind of lost my voice with puberty. Your voice gets deeper and everything feels different.
That happened to me. I played the guitar, and when I was little, I had a really good voice. Honestly, people would tell me all the time, right? But then I grew up, I was I cannot sing anymore.
Yep. You know who kept their voice like that? Justin Bieber.
Yeah.
That's why he still makes the music that almost sounds the same.
Yeah. Amazing. So that was tough for me, because my voice changed. I'm I can't sing anymore. I'm trying to do the things that I used to be
used to do, right?
And it's just not happening. So I kind of gave that up. And actually, when you first probably met me, I was a lot more quiet, and you can kind of still hear some rasp in my voice, because there was about 4 years where I barely even talked, because I had this allergy thing that I'm allergic to soy, and that makes my throat inflame and get all scratchy. And so I was eating basically soy every day in something. If you look through the ingredients of all your food, soy's in something. So it was about 4 years where I could barely talk. And as I figured that out, I kind of got more confidence, and I'm going through voice therapy and being able to find out that hey, I can actually do these things that I wasn't able to do, and I'm getting better. So maybe I can get even more better and be able to sing. And so I went through vocal lessons, a lot of vocal therapy, and almost got a procedure that probably would have went bad, but that was something where I just had this little belief in the back of my mind where it's hey, I've proven myself at videography that I can get a lot better at that. And then you can learn that thing, you can probably learn this. And had a lot of people where they're saying even if you don't have the right tools right now, the right training, it's something like anything that you can grow and learn. And that's one thing a lot of people think singing is something that only some people are born with, and it's really not. So that's
now that's I'm curious, because like I said, I used to sing, and now I like playing the guitar, but what gets me discouraged is that I can't sing for shit anymore,
Yeah.
So I'm I wonder if I could take some classes and kind of get it back a little bit,
Oh, I bet. No, 100% you can. Oh, wow. Because it's something where, your memory of what it was, it's your body changed a little bit, and so it's a different process. So, and it's so different than me talking right now. And so actually going into singing, it's a very different process that you've probably not done in so long. So being able to kind of force your mind to do this weird thing that doesn't seem like it would work, and that's kind of how you find your voice again.
Right. So when you say you're going back to music, did you mean going back to music but as a singer? Or are you producing too? Like,
so that's what's kind of been the blessing of like when I went through college, I was doing audio engineering as well. That's like a club. So that's how I kind of met Sam. And so there I was doing a lot of production work, and that's kind of transitioned to like, hey, I'm doing this for a lot of artists, and I can also do this for myself. That's one thing. Everything good?
Yeah, we can keep going.
Okay. Someone like Tame Impala, he's someone that produces and mixes all of his stuff, and I've always been a fan of people who can do so many disciplines, like even some like Donald Glover, where he can sing, he can act, he can do comedy.
Yeah.
So, or like Tyler, the Creator, where he does like fashion and such too.
Yeah.
So it's just seeing those people where they're able to like be able to find success in multiple disciplines. That's been really inspiring for me to
it's
just
really
say,
cool to see, just because like you don't have to limit yourself to one thing.
And it's cool to strive for it too, you know? Because I know with you kind of want to start doing video, right?
Yeah.
And then, you know, I've been doing photo and video. And then, you know, even within the same realm, like of photography, you can do like certain things, you know? Like,
I mean, you can start doing more like creative style shoots.
Go like this,
you can do.
You have like a little something there. Yeah, sorry.
Oh, my bad.
yeah, and everything.
Or, like even studio stuff is a totally different realm of photography
With
than
flash photography
shooting
and
outside
such.
and stuff.
It's a good mindset to have, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think that's good. One thing I always try to do on each of my shoots is like something different, some different kind of style, prop, or whatever. And that helps push me. And that's the same with if you're going into learning singing. There's some like discipline there that you can really translate to any art, because each of them, they have their little nuances that help you understand art as a whole.
Right.
Like what I did where I was at a performer studio doing acting for like a couple of years too. That's something else.
Of course.
That's helped me a lot with directing and just understanding the language and the vocabulary that like if I'm telling someone something to do, I actually understand where they're coming from and what's gonna like click with them and what they've like been taught with.
Damn,
I want to ask you about social media.
Yeah.
Because you used to have a really big page, and then I think it just like disappeared.
Yeah. So I
go over with me for that.
So I was doing photography. I was doing a lot of just like portrait shoots, and that was when I kind of got involved with an LA crowd who like these are friends I'm no longer associated with, and they might have 1 million followers, but that doesn't mean I want to really follow that. So that was something where I kind of got, and I'll take blame for anything. They have this system there where it's like these like bots that their pages, like if you ever see any like any Instagrammers where like they comment on every post, you're like, how is this person doing that? So that's something where like they put me into their algorithm that like bought a lot of like negative followers to me, and that was something that was really weird because like it was like this cheating thing that they're all doing, and like at the time that was like it was an acceptable thing to them because their kind of mindset, and you'll see this a lot with like influencers, it's like it's not really the value that you have, it's the value that like you're perceived to have,
bro.
And so like they were saying like it doesn't matter like if it's real or not. If a brand sees that you have this page, they're still gonna give these things to you. And that actually, like I got in that and it was kind of cool for a little bit. I was getting free like invitations to things and free like little trips and such, but it was just this fake thing. And that's one thing with social media overall, that it's just like a really toxic space that you have to be careful of, especially when it gets into things like that. And I kind of just got to a point where it was just not something that like I originally got it in for the art. I didn't get in it for making money or getting these deals or whatever. And that was something that just like I had to like step back and say like, hey, this isn't something that like I'm not being fulfilled by this. I'm not proud of this. And so that's something that like you don't really hear a lot, that side of it. And I think for anyone, just like don't be worried about like the growth that you have, or like if you're worried about if you're not doing enough. Like if you're building something that's organic and true to like what you want to do, then that's like something to be proud of.
Yeah, you gotta be honest with yourself. A while back, I started getting all these fake followers, man.
Yeah,
and I was like, well, I can let it happen and get to like 15,000 followers, 20,000 followers, but they're fake, you know. Like, I didn't want to do that, so I had to have my account on private for a while, and every time I would go public again, I would get them again. So I was like, man, I don't really want to delete, you know, what I built. So I changed my username a little bit, and then I changed it back, kind of fixed the problem. But yeah, I see a lot of people, and you can tell now, you can tell who's got like fake followers on there, and
you can definitely like.
I feel like
just
people
go look. Like,
there's some in town. I won't say any names, but it's
I know
it's
a
like
couple.
you see their ratios, and it's like, well, why?
It's just like it's not a great look, I wouldn't want to have that under my name, just people recognizing that there's something missing.
It's
there,
like I get you're trying to. I love how you brought up the, how bigger people do that with those like bot accounts and everything, just to try to get like brand things, which I get. Like people here maybe want to do that to get into that or to give off this like, oh look, I'm a big shot kind of thing. But then like you said, it's like I definitely know of some people in town, like a good handful actually, which is kind of like dumb to see because like you see the ratio of like, oh, you have this number of followers, but I never really see you doing anything. So what's the number for? Like, is it just because you want to come off as that so that people are like, oh, did you see him or her? Like they have so and so amount of followers.
It's all fake. Like,
and
that's
it's like I can't understand that mindset of trying to put out like a fake personality like that,
And you would think it's one of those things that don't matter, but I feel like it does matter a lot, especially if you're trying to do something and people recognize that, then you're just not gonna be.
I mean, I've even heard
I don't
other
even
people
think you
like,
need to.
There's people who have brought these people up to me and they're like, oh, I thought like it was legit, but I literally looked into their profile once and I'm like, no, it's not.
Yeah.
It's that easy to know. Like it really is. So it's just like, I don't know, man.
I think like any like if you're going to do something, if you're approaching it from a way of like, this is something I enjoy to do and I'm like, I work hard and I'm an authentic, honest person, that's going to take you so much farther than any like short term.
Because like the follower thing, to me, is kind of dumb. Honestly, it might work with like bigger brands that don't know you personally, right? But like here locally, you see some people that have 1,000 followers and they're killing it, They're doing a bunch of stuff, they're getting their money and everything. So I don't even think it matters,
I've always had this thought of like social media numbers don't reflect bank account numbers.
No, yeah,
like
ever.
They really don't. It's like you can have all these likes and retweets and likes on Instagram or followers on Twitter and Instagram, but it's like, are you gaining anything from that? Like just besides having that number, and I'm glad I just never got sucked into that mentality of like, I have to be this big person on Instagram. Like even when people tell me like, oh, you have like 6K, I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm like, I really don't. Like it's cool that I have it, like whatever, but I'd never pay attention to that number. Like I don't go on my Instagram like, yo, how many followers do I have? Like I haven't cared about that for like years.
Yeah.
It's just like, I don't know, man. I think it's tough when you get sucked into that social media number thing because, like, it can be really draining.
Yeah,
like, I've seen people, like, really legitimately get bummed out because they don't have a certain amount. And I'm like, why do you care?
Well, you're talking to one. It happened to me for a while.
Yeah, he did. No, I remember him being like that.
It's so hard to, like even with your bank account, you can't associate your value or, like, the amount of shoots you're getting to, like, your value versus your, like, value or your amount of numbers. They're like entirely different things.
Right.
So that's like if someone's not growing and like they're worried about like not being seen, like that doesn't mean your value is any less. Like there's so many things that go into that. And if you focus on that too much, if you're like, oh, I lost 2 followers today, that's just, it becomes this super toxic thing that can like really tear you apart and take you away from like why you're actually doing this.
Yeah, you gotta remember why you're doing things, But yeah, I told you we could talk our shit, man.
Yeah.
See, we're talking shit about.
We're not saying specifically. Yeah, no,
I mean, if the shoe fits, wear it, man. Like, if you're watching it and you all of a sudden feel guilty, it's probably because you're one of them. Yeah. Sorry, but it is what it is.
See, so that was the thing. Man. Like, I had been disillusioned enough to, like, think that was important and that it would help me out. But it just made me more stressed out and made me stressed out of, like, just, like, getting messages constantly. Like, that was the thing. Or, like, people... And I felt like this facade of like all these people think I'm something when I'm really not, or I haven't like earned this. Like it's going to tear you up a lot more than just.
I think
being
it like
honest.
It shows your character though because you willingly chose to get out of that.
Yeah.
When people get like sucked in hard and they stay there.
Yeah.
AKA like all the big Instagrammers who are capping majorly hard, but it's like
that was at the time that was like my entire friend group was just people
big people like that.
And yeah, it's tough to step away from that and try and be bigger than that.
It's like the saying, like, you are who you're around kind of thing. Like, the people you associate yourself with tend to be the direction you go. But obviously everyone can make the choice of stepping out of that. So I think it's cool that you looked on it and you're like, this isn't me. And I get there's some benefit from it, but is it really a benefit if you're doing it, you know, shadily like that? Like, I think that's cool though.
Yeah, it's not something I'm proud of, but I'm proud of like the person I've become because
you should be proud of getting out of it. Like,
how old are you now, bro?
You know?
I'm 24.
24?
He's still young.
He's young, man.
Dude, we're getting old, brother.
We are, bro.
Aren't you 27?
I'm 26. I'm 27.
In like 3 weeks?
April, in May.
Wow,
May 4th.
That's close.
Oh, damn, that's right. Oh, shit.
That is like 3 weeks now.
I forgot, man.
Bruh.
Oh, shit.
I mean, at least I don't turn 27 until September. But
I know. I'm going to have to.
Hey, shout out to my girl's dad because we have the same birthday. Ooh. If you're watching.
It's easy to remember.
That's cool.
That's nice.
Yeah. But I wanted to talk to you about, and please correct me if I say this right, synesthesia? Synesthesia, yeah.
Yeah. So
because I know you go through that, and I want you to explain to everyone what that is.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird condition. It's not nice to call things weird. It's this condition I have where within my brain, my visual and audio, like sensory areas, are kind of linked. So I see sounds, which is a weird thing. It's like I kind of hallucinate all the time, and I'm like I don't do any drugs. I'm pretty clean. It's just like, if you were to play any music or even like your voices, like I visually see something that comes out. So that's weird. Like if you can imagine, I have like a visual of it if you want to see it.
Yeah, let's see.
I do want to see it.
It sounds super trippy.
Yeah,
and it's sound. Wow, that's
seeing sound. Yeah, that's crazy, sound. Dude.
So this is what I found that's like the closest like it.
Oh, I see what you're saying now.
So that's kind of, and that's what like I see something different, but
like along those lines.
Yeah, and so that's something weird. Like as a creative, it almost feels like that's a condition that so little people in the population have. That's like I almost feel like a responsibility to do something.
Is that ongoing or just like all the time?
No, it's like I can be like taking a shower and like I see like things going around. So they're like little orbs of different color just based on like the sound of the shower. And if it's like at night and I'm playing music, like it's hard to fall asleep if I'm playing music because like there's full on those like almost like psychedelic kaleidoscope things going on.
Oh, wow. That's so true.
So it's like almost a battle, like to kind of disconnect my mind from like actually seeing reality versus seeing what's going on with that.
Wow. When did you find out you had that condition?
I've always had it. It was just more finding out that like not everyone has that. That was the weird part. So it was probably like in high school when I found a name for it that like people were like they just don't see things. So I was like kind of knew it was like weird, but no one ever talked about it. So I was like, I guess that's just a normal thing.
Well, it's like the thing with lights at night. Certain people see them one way and certain people don't. Like people almost see them, the street lights. I have that like where I see them in the more like starry, like pointing out thing, and then a lot of people I know don't. They're like, what do you mean? It's just bulb. Yeah, they're like, bro, it's just a green light, and I'm like, I don't see it that way. I see mine like if I was doing like a long exposure of the light or something, which is it was the same thing. I remember for the longest time I thought everyone saw that, and I think I saw like a Twitter post saying like, oh, who sees lights like this? And I'm like, wait, that's not a thing. Everyone, yeah, totally. I'm like, people don't see lights like that? What the hell? That's crazy.
Yeah, and that's one thing too with like all of our perceptions, like it's all different. Like I'm sure the green on his shirt is different for each of us.
Right, and you don't even know. Right?
And so like as an artist, that's kind of one thing where it's like if you're color correcting, like is that the right thing? Or if you're making a creative decision where I'm like, if I was to do like at a concert and I would like play guitar and it would make this certain visual, like does that really matter if like I'm just representing myself or like are you creating some experience for someone else? So that's one thing too with like what you choose to value in art or like how you perceive as like interesting or valuable. Like it's tough.
I mean, everyone has their own like perception of anything, which I think is cool. Just because like that's why art's so subjective. You know, like you can think something is nice and somebody's like that's hideous, dude. Or like when we see those bare ass like minimum effort paintings that sell for like millions of dollars, and you're like, what the hell did you see in that?
Where
and
it's
then,
just like a crumpled up piece of paper.
Yeah, like that was just framed. Like if somebody just went, and then people are like, I'll pay like $800,000 for that.
Yeah,
and I'm
someone
like,
values that. So.
Yeah, and then to somebody that's worth that money, and I'm like, why? But then you think, and you're like, it's just we all like different things, you know, and it's okay. Besides, like with food, I can't respect that.
No, not at all.
Of course.
We won't get into it, but
okay.
Of course, you have to talk your shit, huh?
Yeah, you talked
Bro,
your
do you
shit
know
last
what?
time,
I went
remember?
to Sacramento to Culichi Town.
Oh, I still haven't been there, but I want to.
I had some fucking
Ceviche?
no
Where'd you have?
camarones, dude.
Do you just
Camarones
not
and
eat?
sauce. I had them,
But
I ate
did
'em.
you not eat like shrimp before?
No, but like I wouldn't get that normally, you know.
Oh, but you gave it a shot.
I'm taking steps in the right
so it was
direction,
like
bro.
fried shrimp?
Yeah,
Oh, that's
I
hella
took-
bomb.
I took steps in the right direction, right?
I mean, hey,
getting
I'm
better,
glad
bro.
you're finally realizing you're a grown ass man. So
I'll let you guys solve that. I don't know what's going on here.
Yeah, we
it was
always
one of
do
our
that.
episodes. We talked about like food, and he brought it out publicly that he doesn't like a lot of traditional Hispanic things that a lot of Hispanics do.
Sacrilegious. Wow.
And like this dude grew up in Mexico for 18 years. Like, how do you not like all this? Like the fact that he barely puts anything on tacos.
Oh wow.
He won't eat
He's just
ceviche.
he's like, okay.
Like,
I'm just gonna go.
That's not what I said.
well, see, I'm only getting on him because last episode he was making fun of me for trying to do keto eating for a while. So I'm just talking my shit. again.
I would
you go.
always do. I would always talk shit about you if you try to do keto. Always. I would never let that.
So I
go.
gotta, get him
He
with
was
what
trying
Yeah.
to
put
do keto,
out.
bro.
I'm
The
like,
thing
what's
is-
wrong with me trying to eat healthier?
No,
Like, I'm
no.
sorry.
He was like, "Oh, I'm doing keto," and then he was eating fucking rice, potatoes.
No, I wasn't.
Yeah, you were,
clown.
bro. Oh my
No.
god. See, we're not
Oh
gonna
my
get anywhere
God,
if you
bro.
just don't recognize that you were eating
what
that.
he said to me when I first ever tweeted that I was wanting to do keto is he was like, how are you gonna stop eating carbs? It's not that I was eating them. He was mad that I wasn't gonna eat them.
No,
He's like,
yeah.
why don't you just eat a little bit? Portion your rice and potatoes.
And that's
I'm
what you're
like,
doing now, right?
Yeah, which is fine, but why you gotta be
Exactly.
like, but who said
trying
I
to
was
help you out,
whatever,
bro.
man.
I'm trying to help you out, but can we?
Yeah, I'm
Anyway.
sorry to bring up this trauma.
I know, man.
It's a very sore subject.
Because he always gets on me for that
I'm
one,
just
you
gonna
know?
have to fight
So,
him one
like,
of these
I gotta,
days, bro.
I gotta clown on him for being a freaking man-child who doesn't eat foods.
I'm gonna have to fight you one of these days.
Do
bro.
it then. We'll break up the
Jeez.
podcast.
Okay, yeah.
What is this, episode 20,
22nd, man.
22.
22?
Nice.
I guess
the
after
22nd
this episode,
episode.
guys, no more episodes. No, I'm just kidding.
Nah, I'm just fine.
No,
You
but
do whatever.
going
man.
back to Payton. I know COVID's still kind of like pretty much still a thing. Like things are getting better. But do you have any like travel plans this year?
They're kind of up in the air, but my friends and I this summer we're gonna do like a barbecue road trip around the South.
A barbecue road trip?
Yeah, so
Oh, that
around the
sounds
U.S.
dope.
So just like hitting around like Kentucky,
Oh my god.
Louisiana, around Texas. So just trying to find like the best locations
Bro, why
there.
don't
Like
we do that over here in the
Because we don't have time, bro.
too
Make
That's why.
time.
That's why, man.
Make time.
Oh, wow,
that sounds
interesting.
tight.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a hell of a place to go for barbecue.
Mhm.
That's gonna be like bomb food every single
Mhm.
day.
That's the plan.
How long are you guys thinking of doing it? Like,
It's gonna be like I think 10 days.
oh wow.
And so that's a group that like my like travel friends where we actually went around like Europe about like 6 years ago. So we didn't die then, and hopefully we don't die on this trip, but we'll see.
Who
No, that
knows,
sounds
right?
tight though, dude. Yeah, that's gonna be.
So you've always
Some
had
hella
like
good
that
grub.
trouble bug in you.
Yeah, I'm trying to just because I've like worked so much the past like 5 years or so, and that actually last year from COVID I got really sick, and I don't know if you saw my photo where I like lost a ton of weight.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
I
really?
remember that.
So that's something where like I really like, evaluate my life differently and seeing like, hey, something can happen at any time. Like, yeah, you can work and build to something, but that might all like go away because you have some like medical problem. So yeah, I'm really trying to just amp up doing things I enjoy, things that are fulfilling, travel, do my own creative things. So that's definitely trying to amp that up more within the next coming years.
So you would still consider yourself like a workaholic? You work a lot?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You hear that pause?
Yeah, he's
I
like,
feel that.
I was like, that was
Yeah,
all
bro.
the pain.
I'm like, did you feel that in there
yeah.
too? You're just
I
like,
was oh.
yeah.
It's hard not to be because like there's so much I want to do, and like it's a tough thing. Like if I'm not doing anything, I just feel bad about myself, and I'm like
Right.
I should be doing more. and then you do the thing where you're doing too much and you feel bad about yourself for doing too much. So that's really hard to find that balance for me.
Yeah, you got to find a middle ground, but it's hard because I get it. When you don't do something, you feel like, wow, I'm just wasting my day or my time. And
I'm kind of going through that, man.
Yeah.
I know. I think he is. I've been seeing it on his Twitter. I keep up with his Twitter more than he thinks.
Bro, I'm telling you, go to
Just
my
to
Twitter,
see if
man.
he's okay.
Is that right?
Like not to be nosy, but I'm like, is he good? Yeah, I'm like, is he good?
I go there and just kind of put out my
Vent.
emotions sometimes, you know. I'm telling you, it's a good place, bro.
Yeah.
You should go follow me. There's a lot of emotional
Will do.
stuff on there, and I talk a lot of shit too.
He does just kind of let it all out.
That's
Right.
that's gonna catch up to you sometime.
The
That's
thing
that's
is-
what happened last year when I got so sick. It was just because I was like overworking too much and my immune system just like didn't exist,
Right.
and I was just out for like 3 weeks, just
Yeah.
like hating life.
Because today actually makes 1 month that I left my job.
Wow.
Right.
Congrats, dude.
Wow.
And so it's been a month, and then it's been cool. I like it, you know. But there's days that I'm just like chilling in the house, you know. I'm like, you know, maybe I should do something.
Yeah, you know, could be doing more.
Because for a while I was just
Yeah.
like going and going and going, and I don't know. I'm just gonna trying to get like the time management thing going, you know.
Yeah.
It
Get
takes a
better
while
at
though. It's. I feel like I still haven't fully mastered it, and I'm 2 years in.
No, if
You
anyone
know?
wanted to like torture me, they'd make me meditate. So that does not work.
I mean,
Right.
I kind of like that though, but
No.
no, it is really hard, dude. Once you just lose a routine
Mm-hmm.
that you're used to, and trying to just find your own routine now that you have to do on your own, because like with him, you know, he used to work this time to this time, and then he would do shoots after, so he had that like in mind. And he's like, oh, Monday through Friday I'm at work, and then maybe I can sneak a shoot in there, and then weekends he's like, oh, I'm just shooting all weekend. But now it's like you control your week.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
literally
it's
every
tough
single
being
day.
freelance and
Yeah.
like in your own boss for sure.
Yeah, like you have to control literally every hour and every day of the week. So it's like, what do you do from this time to this time? What time do you go to sleep? What time do you wake up? What time do you do editing or whatever? So it can take a while, you know. And like I said, I've gotten the hang of it, but not really. Like I still stumble.
You're getting
sometimes.
better at it, but
Yeah.
there will
Yeah.
be that week where
How
you
long
just
have
fall off.
you? Did you ever work at a regular job?
Yeah, I've had a couple. One was at UNR where it was like this equipment checkout and repair. So like when people would check out laptops or cameras, I was in control of like checking it out, and if something was wrong, I would fix those.
I see.
Oh, cool.
And then for a couple of production companies around town, there's like a video production. I don't know if you've heard of Bourne's Productions, and then
familiar.
photo Jeff Dow. He has like a photo
Oh,
studio.
yeah. Mhm.
So I was like the assistant at those for a while, and then kind of just got to a point where I was getting so many opportunities on my own with my own production company, and working for them just like it just wasn't valuing or matching what I could do on my own.
Yeah.
Right.
So
I mean, you kind of had to set out on your own eventually.
Yeah, you'll know. You'll know when you're ready to make the leap, you know? Because there's a bunch of people that ask me, especially since I just did it, like, how do I know, you know? Like, bro, you'll know.
yeah,
I feel like it literally clicks in your head.
Yeah.
Like when you're like, I think it's time.
this isn't where I need to be.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
And
how
there was,
long have
like-
you been doing freelance?
Since 2018, I've been like, there's a lot like where like you get hired for a job and technically there's someone like above you. But for the most part, it's like myself finding people, making connections, starting a job, and I'm in control of like if it gets done, if I'm like doing the things like when they need to be done. So that's a lot of like accountability and like self-discipline there.
Nice.
But yeah, I would say like 3 years, and it's definitely amped up like over time. And that's what, if anyone was trying to make that leap, realize that like it might not be the best time if you're saying like, hey, I don't have enough money, I don't know if I should make it. There's going to be a lot of uncertainty and you putting in extra hours, but like over time it's going to fall into place and you're going to figure out like what you need to be doing.
Because how long have you been doing full-time photography?
2 years. I hit 2 years in February.
Wow. Congrats. Dang.
Thanks.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah,
man.
it kind of wild. It feels like that long, but then it doesn't feel. I feel like it flew by, and I mean, yeah, it's just, I don't know. I mean, I'm definitely thankful to still be doing it because last year I had so many doubts. You know, as I'm sure a lot of people who worked for
Especially that
themselves
year.
did.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it was like, yeah, you know, I have a clientele, but you know, this is a people job, and right now people are avoiding people. So It was definitely, you know, that, but I definitely think last year was like a blessing in disguise for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I had like the busiest year I've ever had, and it opened up a lot of doors for this year. And, you know, I mean, definitely this year's looking a lot better, I think. But yeah, man, it's just scary. Scary times. I'm glad that things are slightly starting to get better, and hopefully they get better because I'm so over it.
Yeah.
I'm so over it, dude.
I think it will. Would you consider yourself like a people person? Like,
I think he is.
Yeah, like if I need to be. I'm most of the time I'm just like in my room editing for like 18 hours a day. So it's like I didn't see a single person this day. But for like especially I think I've grown into a people person a lot more, especially on sets where there's like 10 people that are like looking to me for answers. And like I need to know how to communicate in the most efficient way possible and say like you need to do this right now. And there's also a lot of like management too. If like I'm like a dictator on set, then no one's going to want to work for me again, or they're not going to give me the best like work that they can, especially with like actors. Like there's a lot too of like that giving and receiving. Like if you're being friendly with them, then they're going to trust you and they're going to do a lot there. So yeah, I'd say like I've been an introvert most of my life, but like if I need to get up on a stage in front of like 20,000 people, I can do that. I've done that
so
before.
You can, like, click it off and on.
Yeah, I would say that's a good way to like. I know how to like the songs that will get me into that mood to go up there and
flip the switch.
I feel like me and him are that way too. You know, I know he's like very to himself, but then he can just be out there.
Totally.
And I'm the same way. Like, I'll be a people person when I'm around people, but I love like my own time. You know, and just being by myself kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it's kind of weird how like
I just find it interesting that even if you don't consider yourself like a people person, sometimes I don't consider myself a people person, you can definitely get there, you know? Get to the point that you can make things enjoyable for your clients and just kind of make them have a good time and they'll come back to you, you know?
I think that's like super important for what we do too, is the experience that someone has there.
Totally.
It's just nice to hear like when that hour is up, like, oh, thank you, I had a great time. Like, you know, thanks for making it easy and this and this and that. And I'm like, that's what you like to hear. You know, like that's kind of what you should strive for as anyone who offers any type of service, in my opinion. Just because, you know, like, I'm sure, I don't know if you get this question or not, but I mean, I'm pretty sure all three of us do. But I have people ask me all the time, like, how do you get your clients? How do you do that? How do you do this? And I'm like, to be honest, I don't know, but a part of me wants to say is just be a nice person. Yeah. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, most of like the cool people I've met in the creative space and people I've worked with, it's just like DMing them saying like, hey, this is really cool. And later down the road, like they'll say like, hey, can you do this for me? Like it's just about like initiating that and being a friendly, kind person. And like you'll get that back.
Like I think as like any photographer who's, I guess, trying to build clientele, I would say like just be sociable and then, you know, try to make a lot of connections if you can. Word of mouth is huge here. Like me and him have always said, like, word of mouth is huge. It really is, especially in a small city. And it's like if you just do your job right, you're respectful, you aren't one of those photographers that takes 2 months to send photos back and like, you know, you just do things well, like you will get clients. It doesn't mean it'll happen overnight, but, you know, eventually you can get there. It's just you got to do it, man.
Totally. Yeah, and like I said, like, sorry to cut you off there. No. I like rarely post my work, but I'm like working all the time. And that's just because like each job I'm there on time. I'm there extra time. Like I do what it like needs to be done. And that gets passed around. They're saying like, hey, you need this done. I know someone who's like really good at that. Right. So yeah. And a lot too, like I wouldn't be like, I think one thing for me is like, I'm really passionate about like doing what I want with my creative work versus like making something that I know like the general public would like. That's the thing, like everyone has different tastes. So like if you're doing something you're passionate about, that'll make you put in the extra time. You'll be proud to keep working on that and like, do that, what needs to be done. Cause it's like your work and this is something you're proud of. And there'll be someone that likes that, like no matter what you're doing. So like it's good to like look up to people and model yourself after like good things they're doing, but also like it is good to be like unique and proud of like being a creative. And
yeah, I was thinking about that. You know, when you hire somebody, I feel like a big factor for hiring someone is like you can see how passionate they are, you know, and sometimes you can't really fake like the passion behind something. You know, you cannot just do it. Like if you really like it, you're gonna put in the work and stuff. But if you, like you said, if you try to do something else, then you might not be passionate about it. People can definitely tell you're not. And I don't know, like with myself, so like on weekends, I work from the moment I get up. I might do some edits before going to my shoot. I come back, I organize it. It's like work from the moment I wake up to the moment I go to sleep, you know? So that's definitely, you know, I feel like that's just the passion I have behind it. And then the other thing I was going to say, what was the other thing I was going to say? I think I forgot. Oh, no, there's always people that are going to take that chance on you, you know? Somebody's going to give you an opportunity and you just want to take advantage of that. You want to do a good job, go above and beyond to try to, like, do a good job, and that'll, word of mouth is definitely going to come back to you with that, you know?
Definitely. I feel like even when you do so many things in, like, maybe 1 month, like, you should still treat every single one the same and not just be like, oh, I'm just trying to get through it, you know? Like, I will admit at first when this month started with, like, all the grads I've been doing, at first I was kind of, like, burning myself out because I'm like, oh, I just want to edit these really quick. But then I'm like, no, like, these are someone's graduation photos, dude. Like, this is the only time they're graduating college, potentially, unless they go get another degree. So it's like, I got to really put time in it. If it means I'm going to sit for, like, hours on end, like, it's fine. I'm just going to do it instead of just, you know, half-assing the edit or doing this and this and that. Which sometimes, you know, when you get a lot of workload, you want to do that because you just want to, like, skim through it. But that's what lets people come back to you.
Totally.
You know? And then, like, I mean, I'm sure all three of us, like, know the feeling of booking yourself out, like, ahead of time and stuff. So you're just like, wow, look, all these people are still waiting. So I want them to see what's going to come when the people before them are, like, posting everything, you know, so they can kind of, like, have an idea of what to expect. And then new people come along from that because, like, they see it now and they're like, oh, so this is what he's doing? Well, let me get on that, you know? And then that's a good way of, like, just keep building it. But yeah, don't half-ass your work, guys.
And the one thing that I feel like I say this every podcast, and I was talking to him about it before you got here. There's so many people here that want pictures, you know. Don't think, like, you're limited to a certain amount of, like, people. Like, if you see someone that has some people you know, but they go to this other person instead of you, you know. It's like, nah, man. Just put yourself out there. Like, there's so many people here in Reno. It amazes me. Like, you go to UNR. There's so many photographers there.
Yeah, dude.
There's so many opportunities.
Like, so many photographers, so many people. It's like the opportunities are out there, man.
Yeah, what is there, like 500,000 people in this town? And
something like that.
Whether maybe
more than that. I feel like
I think
800,000.
I think we're close to like 750 to 800.
Really?
Okay.
Yeah, and what are there, like less than 500 photographers?
Probably.
There's probably like 200 photographers.
Yeah,
maybe,
probably.
huh?
That might be like a
that'd be interesting to find
there's
out, huh?
opportunities out
like,
there for sure.
Literally, like, make a list.
Right.
I think maybe like 100 to 150, I would say.
Yeah.
Like, actually, like,
more than that,
no, I'd say actually, like doing
five,
it. I'm not talking like as a hobby. Like,
Oh,
they're
right,
actually
right.
trying to do it, you know? Because I'm sure there's people out there who consider themselves a photographer because it's, you know, it's their hobby and stuff. But I'm talking like it's like they're legit
That's
either
their income.
working to make it their income or it's already their income. I would say between like 100 to 150.
Yeah. Think about that math. That's like inspiring for like any town or anything. I think that ratio is going to be pretty similar.
Yeah, it's like, dude, you have people to shoot for you. Like, relax.
Or just the fact that you go, you know, somewhere and you see all these people that you don't know who they are. You know, those people need pictures too.
Totally.
You know, everyone you see on the street.
Yeah, and the more like countries that like adopt the internet, like it's only going to get bigger and bigger. The like amount of power you're going to have as a creative. That's
right.
Like one thing that's interesting too right now, like with TV, like Falcon and Winter Soldier. If you see like the budget for that show, and like there's just so much money in entertainment and for creatives. That's one thing. Like as we go forward and AI becomes more popular and like automating with like robots, that can do simple tasks. But as far as like creatives, we're really like in a special spot where like we have that, I wouldn't say security, but that ability to really just like stay and make a big impact on the world.
That's right. You
It's
heard it here first.
It's a good time to take advantage of the technology around us, you know, and the platforms. that people have.
Yeah, it's more accessible.
A lot of it are free. You know, like I damn near get maybe 70% of my clients to Instagram, and I didn't pay anything to make my profile. Nor do I pay anything a month for it. Like, it's just there.
Yeah.
Facebook business page is free to make. You could do that. Twitter is free. Twitter shouldn't be free. No, I'm just kidding, but because Twitter's...
That's not a bad point, honestly.
Yeah.
You should be able to, you should pay. If you want to be in that dark space, pay some money, man.
No, but, it's like, take advantage of everything. Like, I know YouTube... Sure, you don't have to pay to make a YouTube account, right? Nope. It's just like, there's another platform there, or... I mean, Visco is free.
Do you have a YouTube channel?
Everything.
There's nothing on it. But
oh, really?
Yeah. Well, that's like the next year. I really want to start posting more and more. So that's going to be the thing where I've done so much work the past years, and I'm going to have that ability to just do my own creative things. But
why don't you, go over us with like any plans you have for this year or towards your career.
So hopefully I'm hitting export tonight on this animation project.
Nice.
And then
we're rooting for you.
Yeah. Oh, it's going to be the best little
like
quarter second of all time.
Sit back and be like, thank you, God.
But after that, I'm looking into getting an office space where I can just have like freedom to record my music at any point and not have to worry about like, keeping up the neighbors. And then in there, I want to set up a little photo studio. So I'll be able to do clients, like just studio stuff there, but also for my own like music videos, just have like a space to do like visual things if I just want to do a cover, or I actually want to film like part of my music videos in there. So that's something that's like a big step. I never thought I'd be able to actually have the ability to like rent out a studio space.
Right.
So
that's big.
That's
really big.
Hey, if you're literally like, gonna look into that, let me know, because I might want to hop on that with you.
Cool.
I've been wanting to potentially get a group, maybe 3 to 4 people to just rent like one space as like our workspace,
Totally.
Like, hey, let's just go hang in here and edit and do that. But let me know.
Yeah.
We'll talk.
We'll talk.
Yeah, we'll talk. But yeah, I think that would be really fun for sure.
And because that's the thing too with like the internet is, sure, I could go down to LA and there's lots of jobs there, but thanks to like so many streaming services, there's jobs everywhere. And like you don't need to be in a specific town nowadays because the internet exists, and like we're talking about social media, you can really build up a career just anywhere as long as you have the internet.
What genre of music do you focus on more?
So I really like Tame Impala, and then also some of like The Weeknd's earlier stuff, where it was like a lot like darker experimental pop. So it's kind of what I'm feeling right now, but we'll see as time goes on what I have a better liking for.
I mean, Tame Impala is goated.
Oh,
he's so good.
Have you seen him live?
No, I wish.
I want to.
I've always wanted to. He's amazing. Yeah, I probably listen to Tame Impala like once a day.
Yeah,
at least. No, he's great for sure. Hey, that's some good inspo though.
Yeah,
it's a good inspiration to have.
Yeah, you should definitely put your work out there. I'm curious now.
Yeah,
me too. Because like it's like something that I've wanted to do for so long, and I'm really
drop the link, Payton.
Drop the link.
Shoot us the link, dude. No, that's awesome, man.
I think we're getting close to wrapping up.
Cool.
So maybe just go over, your handles, everything, where they can find you, what you're gonna be doing, and all that stuff.
Pretty much anywhere. If you just search Payton Official, I'll be there. But mainly Instagram. That's where I do a lot of my stuff, and you'll probably see most of the things first there.
There you go.
But yeah,
you heard it here, folks.
Heard it here first.
Yeah. Well, stay tuned.
This was a
for
fun one, man.
Next. Yeah. No, I'm glad we could bring you in. Yeah, I feel like I'd been meaning to ask you for so long, and then I just happen. Yeah,
bro.
Like space it. I tend to
this
be
was
really
unexpected, man. You're interesting. You're an interesting guy.
I knew you, but not like this. So I'm. It's really refreshing to know like all this. Because like we only interacted a couple times, and it was like, hey, how's it going?
Yeah,
but we didn't like have a full on sit down conversation, and now I'm like, oh damn. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, this is what I was missing by not sitting down and talking.
You're good.
No, but that's great, dude. No, thank you for coming, man.
It makes
really
me
appreciate it.
that much more. It makes me happier, that to have this podcast and to just kind of get to know you.
It's a blessing for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely a blessing.
Oh, and also music video, first week of May.
First week of May.
Yeah, he's seen a little bit of it.
Oh yeah.
I'll wait. Cool, I'll give myself the anxiousness.
Yeah, bro, he made the animation first, and then he went and shot it.
Yeah, so we like storyboarded it, and then we went down to Vegas, and actually we were like drifting cars around.
That's something I need to do.
Wow,
bro, I show up to locations, paid stuff, you know, like I'm getting paid to do this, and I'm like, all right, so what are we doing? So what are we doing? You know, and I'm just like, I'm like, they can see me, you know. I'm not like, oh, what if we do this first, and then we can have you here, and then we'll go here, and I'm just like doing it right there on the spot, you know. So I definitely need to do that more.
There's the planning to like get the permits, but while you're there, there's still the improv of like, hey,
right.
The fire alarm is going off. We need to go to a different location. Like something's happened like that.
Did you ever get into vlogging? I'm not doing it yourself, or like watching vlogs and stuff.
Yeah.
Do you know who Casey Neistat is?
Yeah, for sure.
So basically, there's this one quote that he said one time. He said, "Just record as much as you can, and then once you're in the edit, you can make something." And then that kind of just stuck with me, and that's what I do. But then I'm starting to realize that, you know, it might not work in my best interest to do it that way every time, you know. So I don't know. I definitely want to get into more planned stuff and just be more patient too. Because as soon as I have like a cool shot, I'm like, oh, the people gotta see this, you know. Export, upload, and it's up. So
it's up like in the next few hours.
So there's work to do, man. But thank you for coming, bro.
To it. Yeah, absolutely.
We appreciate you coming, giving us a little bit of your time, and then you probably go back to work pretty soon, no?
Yep. Get back to being workaholics.
Yeah.
No, I was gonna ask if you guys want to go eat.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go.
I'm down.
Let's go on this and get some tacos or what?
Let's do that, huh?
Say less.
All right, thanks everyone. See you in the next one. We're about to go get some tacos.
No.
Can we get up for it? Should we just keep this up? Can we get up for it? 'Cause haven't we had enough? Can we get up for it? Or are we too deep enough? Can we get up for it? No. Can we get up for it? No. Just let me be honest.